I was having my morning coffee when I opened the envelope from Beverly Hills Cosmetic Surgery Center. For a moment, I thought it was junk mail, some marketing ploy targeting women my age. Then I saw my name at the top of a $40,000 medical bill for breast augmentation surgery I'd never had. My hands shook as I read through the itemized charges: surgeon fees, anesthesia, post-operative care, premium silicone implants. All performed on someone using my name, my social security number, my insurance information. I called the surgery center immediately. "This is Gabriela Santos. I received a bill for surgery I never had." "Let me check your file, Miss Santos." The receptionist paused. "It shows here that you had breast augmentation surgery 3 weeks ago. Dr. Richardson performed the procedure. I've never been to your facility. Someone used my identity." "Ma'am, that's impossible. We require photo identification and insurance verification." Then someone forged my ID. Another pause. "Would you like to speak with our billing department about a payment plan?" "I want to speak with your fraud department now." After being transferred 3 times, I finally reached someone who understood the gravity of what I was saying. They agreed to pull the file and review the documentation. "Miss Santos, the patient who came in did have identification with your name and information. But now that I'm looking more closely at the photos in our system." "What photos?" "We take before and after photos for all procedures. The woman in these photos, she doesn't look like the photo on the ID she provided." My stomach dropped. "Can you describe her?" "Blonde hair, about 5'6", probably early 30s. Very theatrical makeup." That description fit exactly one person. My sister Veronica. I hung up and immediately called her. "Ronnie, we need to talk. Now." "Oh hey Gavs. What's up?" "What's up is that I just received a $40,000 bill for breast implants. Want to explain that?" The silence on the other end was deafening. "Ronnie, look, I can explain. You better start explaining fast. I was going to pay it back. It's not like you were using your good credit anyway." I sat down hard in my kitchen chair. "Are you insane? You stole my identity to get plastic surgery. I didn't steal anything. We're sisters. What's yours is mine, right?" "No, Veronica, what's mine is mine. And what you did is called identity theft. It's a felony." "Don't be so dramatic. I needed this surgery, Gabs. My self-esteem was in the toilet after Direct left me. I couldn't afford it on my own, and your credit is so much better than mine. So you forged my identification and stole my personal information." "I borrowed it. There's a difference." There was no difference, and we both knew it. But Veronica had always lived in a world where her problems became everyone else's responsibility. "I'm hanging up now, and I'm calling the police." "Wait, don't do anything crazy. Let's talk to Mom first." Against my better judgment, I agreed to meet at our mother's house. I needed to understand how deep this betrayal went, and whether other family members were involved. Mom greeted me at the door with a guilty expression that told me everything I needed to know. "Gabriela, honey, before you say anything, you knew. Veronica needed help. She was so depressed after her divorce. So you helped her commit identity theft?" "I helped her get the confidence boost she needed to move on with her life." I walked into the living room where Veronica sat on the couch, noticeably different from the last time I'd seen her. Her new figure was obvious, and she seemed to be deliberately showing it off. "Do you like them?" she asked, gesturing at her chest. "Dr. Richardson is amazing. I feel like a whole new person." "You feel like a new person because you literally stole someone else's identity to become one." Mom sat down next to Veronica, immediately taking her side. "Gabriela, you're being unreasonable. Veronica needed this surgery for her mental health. Her mental health doesn't justify destroying my financial health. You don't even use credit. You rent that tiny apartment. You don't have a car payment. You don't buy anything nice for yourself." "Because I'm saving money, Mom. Because I'm planning for my future." "Well, now you can plan around helping your sister." I stared at both of them, realizing that this conversation was pointless. They genuinely believed that my financial stability was a family resource that Veronica could tap into whenever she needed a confidence boost. "I'm pressing charges," I said quietly. Both of them started talking at once, but I held up my hand. "Veronica used my name, my social security number, and forged my identification to obtain $40,000 in medical services. That's not family helping family. That's identity theft, credit fraud, and forgery. She needed confidence more than you need credit, Mom said, like that settled the matter. No, I replied. She needed therapy more than she needed surgery, and I need my identity back. I left them sitting there and drove straight to the police station. Detective Maria Reyes took my statement and reviewed the evidence I gathered, the forged ID, the medical bills, and even the recordings where Veronica admitted to using my information. This is a clear case of identity theft, Detective Reyes said. The medical component makes it even more serious. How did she access your personal details? We're sisters. She's known my social security number, birth date, everything since we were kids. And the ID. She probably used an old photo of me to have a fake one made. We look alike enough that it would work. Miss Santos, I have to ask, are you certain you want to press charges? This could lead to felony charges. I'm sure. The next few days were overwhelming. Veronica was arrested at her apartment. The story made local news because of how unusual the case was. Woman arrested for using sister's identity for cosmetic surgery ran across several headlines. My phone lit up with calls from friends, extended family, even strangers. Most of the family calls weren't supportive. Gabriella, how could you do this to your sister? Aunt Carmen asked, upset. I didn't do anything to her. She did this to me. But now her future is at risk. She should have thought of that before damaging mine. It's just money. Family comes first. It's not just money, it's my credit, my identity, my trust. Cousin Rita tried a gentler approach. Can't you just pay the bill and move on? Veronica said she'll pay you back. With what? She couldn't afford it to begin with. That's why she used my name. But she's really confident now. You should see her smile. Then she can smile in court. Despite the pressure, I stood my ground. I'd already disputed the fraudulent charges, contacted my insurance, and hired a lawyer to help me sort out the damage. What I didn't expect was how fast the story would spread on social media. Someone had filmed the arrest, and the video went viral online. The comment sections were full of shock and judgment. But then something surprising happened. Other women began sharing their stories about parents, siblings, and spouses who had stolen their financial identities. My sister used my credit to fund her wedding while I was deployed overseas. My mom opened cards in my name when I was a teenager. My brother bought a motorcycle in my name, then called me dramatic when I confronted him. Suddenly, my situation wasn't an isolated incident. It was part of a broader conversation about financial betrayal in families and the silence victims are pressured into keeping. A victims advocacy group contacted me about speaking at a conference. A national credit service asked to use my case as a learning tool. 3 law firms offer free legal help to pursue civil claims against both Veronica and the clinic that approved the surgery. Meanwhile, Veronica was facing real legal consequences. She was charged with identity theft, credit fraud, and forgery, serious charges that carried the risk of years in prison. Her lawyer called me personally. Miss Santos, my client is open to a plea deal. She'll accept guilt if you'll agree to a reduced sentence. What does reduced mean? Probation, community service, and repayment, including legal costs and credit monitoring. I paused just long enough to be polite. No deal. You don't want your sister to go to prison, do you? I want her to be accountable. She made choices that hurt me deeply. She doesn't get to walk away from that without consequences. The trial lasted 2 days. Veronica's defense was that she was emotionally fragile after her divorce and didn't understand the seriousness of what she was doing. The prosecution presented evidence that she'd researched the surgery center for months, had fake identification professionally made, practiced forging my signature, and had even created fake pay stubs to support the loan application. This wasn't an impulsive decision born of emotional distress. This was a calculated fraud scheme. Veronica was convicted on all 3 felony counts and sentenced to 18 months in prison, followed by 3 years of probation and an order to pay full restitution. The Cosmetic Surgery Center was also investigated and fined for failing to properly verify patient identity, which led to them implementing new security protocols. During Veronica's sentencing, she was allowed to make a statement. She looked directly at me and said, "I hope you're happy now. You destroy your own sister over money." I was allowed to respond with a victim impact statement. Your Honor, this case was never about money. It was about identity, trust, and respect. My sister didn't just steal my credit, she stole my sense of security and safety within my own family. She violated my privacy, my autonomy, and my future financial stability for her own vanity. I pause, looking at Veronica. I didn't destroy my sister. She destroyed herself by choosing to commit crimes instead of addressing her problems through legal and healthy means. The judge agreed. Ms. Veronica Santos, identity theft is not a family matter. It's a serious crime that destroys victims' lives and financial futures. The fact that you targeted your own sister makes this crime more egregious, not less. 2 years later, Veronica was released from prison. She called me on the day she got out. Gabs, I know you probably don't want to hear from me, but I need you to know something. What? Prison was the best thing that could have happened to me. Not because of the punishment, but because it forced me to face who I'd become. I got therapy, real therapy. I learned about narcissistic personality disorder, about financial abuse, about taking responsibility for my actions. I was quiet for a moment, and I'm sorry, really, truly sorry. Not sorry I got caught. Sorry I did it in the first place. Sorry I violated your trust and privacy. Sorry I put my vanity ahead of your financial security. Thank you for saying that. I know I don't deserve forgiveness, but I want you to know that I'm paying back every penny. I have a job now, a real job, and every spare dollar goes toward restitution. I know, I've been getting the payments. Is there any chance, maybe someday, we could try to rebuild some kind of relationship? I know it would take time, and I know I'd have to prove myself. I thought about the woman who'd stolen my identity for breast implants, who'd shown them off while I was discovering the financial wreckage she'd left behind. Then I thought about the sister I'd grown up with, before the divorce, before the depression, before the narcissism took over completely. Maybe, I said, but it would have to be on my terms, at my pace. I understand, and Gabs, thank you for not letting me get away with it. I needed consequences to change. 5 years later, Veronica and I have a cautious but genuine relationship. She finished paying restitution 2 years early and now works as a counselor for women struggling with post-divorce depression and financial crimes. She kept the breast implants. Removing them would have been another unnecessary medical expense. But she always tells her story honestly when people ask about them. I committed felonies to get these, she says. They cost me my relationship with my sister, 18 months of my life, and my financial future. Worst investment I ever made. As for me, my credit was fully restored, and I used the experience to become an advocate for victims of family financial crimes. I speak at conferences, work with law enforcement, and help other people understand that protecting yourself from criminal family members isn't betrayal, it's survival. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is refuse to enable their worst behavior, even when they're family, especially when they're family.